3, 2.
Charlotte, Rock Hill, Gastonia, 704, North Carolina, South Carolina, surrounding areas. Hello and welcome to this latest edition of Under Construction. I am your host, Jamal, the Angry Black Fan, Darby. To my top left, we have Rodney, Rob Pops Richardson. What up, Roddy?
What's up?
And after a bit of a hiatus, I am so glad to have my light-skinned brother back. I'm very happy to see this dude, man. Kaza Sose, what's good, brother?
What's good, man? Good to be back on the show.
Good to have you back, man. And last and certainly not least, Under Construction Extended Family, Danny Thompson joins the show today. What's going on, brother? How are you today?
Man, it's great to be back. It's been a while, being back in Charlotte. Now I'm with the Charlotte crew now, so it is what it is now.
Hey. Before we move on, Jamal and Kaz, quick question.
What's up?
You consider me light skin or brown skin?
You're brown skin. You're not in the light skin club, brother. Sorry. You didn't make the cut, man. Kaz, you got to vote on this?
Yeah,
you see this?
I'll be sure best song.
Huh? What's I'll Be Sure's best song?
Your answer determines your life.
Night and day. Night and day.
See, that's a mainstream answer.
That's a mainstream song. See, hey, look, hey, Kaza, while I about to say that song, Ooh, This Love Is So, you remember that song? See, if you don't know the album cuts, you are not true light skin.
Listen, to quote my co-host Deshaun Tatum, Talking Hoops, Rodney, you didn't graduate from LSU.
You didn't graduate from LSU, Light Skin University, man. You didn't. Yeah. Sorry. You got a certificate, but all right, man.
He got a game ticket. He went to one of the home games. Is what he went to.
Moving on.
I'm a shade short.
Danny, you know the best thing about having you on the show today?
What is that?
Is that you have to be positive about the Panthers today. That's the best part about having you on the show today. So with that being said, no, don't breathe heavy. No, you wrote the article, man. This is your fault, man. So we have Danny Thompson on today, and he is going to discuss his article from the 3-point conversion, which is It Is Thompson Time in Carolina. Let's start with the obvious question. Danny, why is it Thompson time in Carolina?
It's one of the things that Carolina's always had over the years. Since the team started in '95, one of the main positions they've always had has been middle linebacker. Right. Going back to Sam Mills, the reason why Keep Pounding started was because of Sam Mills. He was the linchpin, the starting point. You go to Michael Barrow, and then you even go down to the history, Dan Morgan, and you now have Luke Kuechly, who by most accounts should be a Hall of Famer. Even with all the concussions and the career-ending injury, he has the resume to be a Hall of Famer. So Carolina's always had that linchpin. If it's not been one position, it's always been middle linebacker. And Shaq Thompson had an outstanding season last year, had a career high in tackles. He became much more than just a guy who can play the pass. And with Kuechly now being in the front office, they brought in Tahir Whitehead, I think, from Oakland, but it's now his time. It's his turn now. He's the team's leading returning tackler, and he has the skill set to be the next good. I'm not going to say great, because he's got to earn that title, but the next line and middle linebackers in Panther history to be really good. So I think he has a lot of those tools and potential.
Right. You mentioned in an article, and this is one thing that I'm really glad you brought it, because I think this is going to exponentially help, the adjustment from outside to middle linebackers. You talked about the return of some of these D linemen coming back, which I think is of the most importance. Mainly Kawan Short. How much do you think that is going to help the adjustment from outside to middle linebacker?
I think it's going to be a huge adjustment. Getting Kawan back, the pick of Brown in the first round. You have those two guys in the middle. Think about this. Carolina could have drafted Anthony Simmons from Clemson, arguably the most versatile linebacker / safety in the draft. They could have put him there and been completely fine, even with Luke's situation. Right. But when you have Kawan coming back, you have Derek Brown on the board, and because you believe in Shaq Thompson so much, you passed on a guy that can play multiple positions in a division that needs versatility. So you have to have some kind of belief knowing that he can transfer over into that middle linebacker position. And you got to think, you learn from one of the best middle linebackers, not just of the decade, but probably the last 25 years in Luke Kuechly. So you have a great teacher there, and you learned a lot from him.
So speaking of passing on Simmons, I gotta ask the Clemson guy this. So Rodney, with that being said, man, we pass on your guy. Shaq Thompson moves middle linebacker. Just share some of your thoughts, man. What do you see as the outlook on that?
Honestly, I think his leadership will be valuable to the locker room, especially with this young defense. Honestly, I like Derrick Brown a little more than Simmons. Actually, going back and looking at the tape, it's nice to build from the defensive line outward, and
Right.
so I agree with that decision ultimately. I'm looking forward to Shaq having a big year. He just needs to grab hold of that leadership role. We really definitely need that.
Kaiser, what's your thoughts on Shaq moving to the middle?
I would hope that playing behind one of the best linebacker tandems in recent history would help him. I got to think that he picked up a lot playing
something
beside Luke Kuechly and Thomas Davis. And if we remember when Kuechly came into the league, he started on the weak side and then moved over after John Beeson's injury. And Luke Kuechly would have been great no matter what the situation, but I think playing beside John Beeson and Thomas Davis helped him a lot. And then, when Beeson left, then it was his time, and I could see that parallel with Shaq Thompson, okay? The guy you played behind, who was a Panther great, he's gone now. Now's your time to step up. Really, the big thing for me is physically, I don't think he'll have any problem playing middle. It's the smarts. Luke Kuechly was one of the smartest football players
I've ever seen.
A long time. Yeah. Teams used to hate playing against not really the Panthers defense. It was Luke Kuechly they hated because he knew what you were gonna call before you even called it. I don't think Shaq Thompson is gonna have that level of acumen, but he's got to be able to have some of those same abilities in order for the Panthers to be successful. Luke Kuechly actually wasn't the most physically gifted middle linebacker. He was
the biggest
slow.
guy.
Right. Shaq Thompson is a better athlete, but I think with the Panthers defense, for them to be successful, he's going to have it up here too.
So I got a quick question. Does it concern you guys that we held on to Thomas Davis so long and that Shaq didn't supplant him earlier?
No, it doesn't, because I think that was just more experience to learn from, quite honestly, man. You know what I mean? And I think Thomas Davis, he was here as long as he needed to be here, quite honestly. I really believe that, man. So no, I don't believe that hurt.
No, I think it really, if anything, it helped more than it hurt, because it doesn't hurt. Unlike some sports, the NFL is one of those sports where you don't have the longest shelf life. So if you're able to learn behind someone who's not just a good linebacker, but one of the better linebackers and the better leaders in the NFL, on top of having Luke Kuechly beside you, I don't think it's not a bad thing. And really, you saw what happened when he actually got more playing time. The numbers produced. Now, one thing that Shaq does have over a lot of linebackers, especially his division, he's very good in the pass.
Yeah,
he already can cover running backs and also can play in pass coverage. In a division that you need as many people guarding tight ends and guarding running backs out of the pass, he can do that. The real question is
sometimes even slot receivers, depending on the matchup.
Exactly. And the one thing that he has to adjust, is which he gotten better, is that I think last year was his best year by Pro Football Focus when it comes to covering the run. Last year was the best year he's ever had. So now that he's the focal point of the defense, you're right. He's going to have to learn how to call plays on defense. He's going to have to be that vocal leader. But I think when you've been around people who've done it long enough, you develop your own voice. And the good thing is that he's been there for a while. It's not Tahir Whitehead coming in trying to take over the linebacking core. It's a good person.
I mean, with all the turnover that the Panthers have had on both sides of the ball, but particularly defense, this is his defense now.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's the most senior member on the defense, but I mean, with this is his
K1
season, I mean, it's his defense. And like you said, he's going to develop his own voice, and he's going to have to make people listen to him. He's gonna have to earn some of that role. It's just not gonna be given to him just because. And middle linebacker for like you said, Danny, middle linebacker for the Carolina Panthers. That's big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
I mean, not just recently, but historically. You got Sam Mills, you got John Beeson, Dan Morgan, Luke Kuechly. And then even on the outside, you had guys like Lamar Latham and Kevin Green. The linebacker core of the Carolina Panthers is
probably solid.
Our position with the most pride. He's going to have to, now that he's the guy, he's going to have to really earn that role. And it can't just be via production and numbers. He's going to have to be the guy in the locker room. He's going to have to, like you said, create his own voice.
And so, and then let me piggyback on that point too. It's also beneficial that Luke Kuechly is still in the organization.
Yes,
to help him recognize, okay, you need to do this and stuff like that to help him out.
And I was just going to say this becomes even more important because you got to keep in mind we have 7 new starters on defense, and not only that, you have all these. We drafted nothing but. Our draft picks are nothing but defensive players, so it becomes even that much more important. And you got a new defensive coordinator. So with all that being said, this may be a lot for Shaq Thompson to kind of take on, man. But from the looks of it, looks like Matt Rule trusts him. So we'll see how it goes, man.
I don't know. I think the situation is actually beneficial to Shaq compared to being in the Ron Rivera system. And I'll say this because when you have a brand new system, brand new defensive coordinator, 7 new starters on defense, and the coach is saying, listen, here's what everything needs to be done. You're my guy.
Right.
You're not taking over in a Ron Rivera system because the first thing you think of Ron Rivera, you're going to think of Luke Kuechly. You're going to think of John Beeson, Dan Moore. You're going to think of those. Matt Rule is going to establish his own. And you establish your own with one of the guys that has been there. So it's a little bit different, I think. And I think it's actually more beneficial to him because, like you said, new defense. You're not having to take over. You're not going to have to learn new play calls and everything. You're learning a whole new system in general. So everybody's learning. Not just you, but the other 11 guys on defense, the other guys you drafted, the guys you're returning. Because, listen, it's good. Transitioning defenses is not the easiest thing in the NFL, but if everybody's transitioning into it, it's not such a bad idea. So I think you'll be fine. I think it'll be fine.
All right, man. It remains to be seen, man. There's needless to say that there's a ton of turnover when it comes to this Panthers defense. I think the Panthers brass trust Shaq Thompson based off what he did last season. And this is one question I wanted to ask you, Danny. To me, it felt like we saw a jump last season from Shaq Thompson. Like there was an ascension, and it was obviously Shaq Thompson's best year. Why do you think that was? Was there any one thing that stands out as far as contributing to him having such a great year last year?
I think in watching the film I watched of him from beginning to end, it seemed like towards the end of the season, especially after the coaching change, it seemed like he was a little bit more freer in the running game because we all know about how good he was guarding running backs. But if you look at the last 4 of the last 5 games, he had, I think, multiple double-digit tackles in a couple of those games. And a lot of those games, it was a lot of solo tackle. So it feels like he was getting more adjusted to being that guy in the transition process. It's just really about confidence. He kept getting more confident in being able to stop the run, being able to see coverages a lot better. And to be honest with you, I think the fact it's just maturation and growth. And that's why I think that he has the ability to be arguably, I think, maybe even the best middle linebacker in the division. And that includes division when you have guys like, Deion Jones out in Atlanta, the linebacker from New Orleans. I can't remember Mario Davis in New Orleans. Yeah. You have good middle linebackers, and then you have Devin White in Tampa. You have good middle linebackers in the division. Thompson has the ability to be the best middle linebacker in this division at the end of the season if he continues at that pace he's been going at.
I praise for your cousin.
Strong statement, man. All right, man.
And not because he's a Thompson. Not because he's a Thompson, by the way.
Hey, you sure that's not why you wrote the article, man? I just thought about that, man. So y'all not a distant cousins,
Nah, no kinfolk that I know of.
All right. We're going to move on, man. We're going to talk about the NBA bubble. The NBA bubble is hot right now, man. Some entertaining games going on in the NBA bubble. Not much defense, but however, very entertaining. We want to talk about first. Let's start with the obvious, man. We had a really good play-in game. Yeah. NBA play-in game last night between the Trailblazers and the Memphis Grizzlies. Let's start with Rodney, man. Rodney, did you watch the game? What are your impressions on both teams going forward? And when I say forward, meaning immediate future and near future.
Me and Danny talked about this a little bit yesterday, man. Like, Portland is a dangerous team, man. the re-addition of Nurkic was so big for that team, man.
Totally agree. Yeah.
The Lakers need to watch out. It's going to be a tight series. It's going to be a very, 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 very tight series. I think it's going to go 6 games against the Lakers. And with the Grizzlies, man, the sky's the limit for them, man. Ja is a gamer. Ja's awesome. Better than Trae Young. I said that. Both of y'all faces is funny, man. Look, man. Look. The Grizzlies next year, man, they're going to be a top 7 playoff team in the West, man.
I agree with that.
Jaren Jackson Jr. will be better.
I agree with that.
Justice Winslow will be introduced to the lineup, and Ja will be a better player, man. I look, the future is so bright for Memphis, man. I'm telling you.
Look, hey, Ja Morant got a real good lesson from CJ McCollum last night, and I kind of enjoyed seeing it. Quite honestly, man.
We all got to take our lumps, man.
Yeah, no, exactly. But the young man has a bright future, man. Danny, what you got on the Blazers and the Grizzlies from last night?
I mean, arguably, it might be the most entertaining game we've had all season.
Yeah.
I actually have an article coming out today on 3-point conversion sometime this afternoon about the bubble itself and what they should go forward. But I'll go into it now a little bit. To me, the playing game might have been arguably the best thing the NBA has done in a while. And the NBA has been super creative when it comes to things. All right. But mind you, the NBA is also, I would call, they're the P. Diddy when it comes to sports. And I'll say it when it comes to this. They take other sports ideas, remix it, and make a hit out of
it. I like that analogy, man.
I was concerned. I'm like, P. Diddy.
Where's he going with this?
So think about this. If you go back to the All-Star game, for example, the captains, they got that from the NHL. The NHL did that years ago. Televising it, picking captains, picking teams, they did that. The Elam ending, the ending of the All-Star game last year wasn't theirs. It came from the basketball tournament, the Elam ending. The 24 was all because of Kobe. That was NBA's spin on how the game should end. If you look at some of the things the NBA has done, they've gotten it from other sports, which is not a bad thing. The play-in game comes from Major League Baseball. Baseball has game number 163.
Yep.
The only difference about it is the NBA put their own spin on it. And now you have one game to determine who plays Los Angeles Lakers. Right. And for one Saturday afternoon, for those people who've never watched the Memphis Grizzlies, I guarantee you their national TV stock just went through the roof yesterday because of the way Ja Morant played. And so it was great basketball. Now, Memphis being a top 7 seed, Rodney, you forget there is a light-skinned duo out in Oakland that didn't make the playoffs last year that has got a humongous chip on their shoulder.
Yeah, very true.
There's a duo. I'm not sure if you heard those guys, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson.
Hey, Danny, the real LSU.
You got to think those two guys are angry. Like those two guys sat last season, and watched the Warriors go down in flames, and they weren't able to do nothing about it. Top 7, Memphis still has some issues. Memphis, you got to think. Well, what team they're going to replace in the top 7? They're not replacing Dallas.
Utah.
Remember, Utah's missing Bogdanovic. You're missing 21 points a game.
And with Utah, I'm not high on Mike Conley next year either.
Before we go on to that, let's save some for a little later because we about to go on the tangent. Kaiser, I want to get your thoughts on last night and those two teams going forward. We'll get to that, fellas.
Me and Danny about to have an argument.
Yeah, y'all about to go. Let me step in real quick.
Let me say this specifically about the bubble in general. People are putting way too much stock into the bubble. I know it's been a long time. Think about this.
Please expound.
The gap between the last NBA game and the first bubble game is the same as the gap between the end of the NBA Finals and the beginning of the preseason, maybe a little bit longer. You've got people playing. There's no defense. No defense. I don't care what anybody says. People are like, the games are competitive. Well, yeah, because every team can go out and score 120 points a game now. There's no crowd pressure. They're playing on neutral court. The context of these games is completely different than a normal NBA game.
Absolutely.
Because we just have
and Kaiser, let me cut you off really quickly because I want to get it in real quickly. To that point, I believe it makes a huge difference when the referees don't make the hometown calls.
Yeah,
They don't have the crowd pressure to make these critical calls and critical moments either. And I think that makes a difference. But go ahead, brother. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, these games to me seem like the beginning of a new NBA season, which if you've ever watched the NBA ever, you know not to put a lot of stock into the beginning of an NBA season. Just 2 years ago, the Charlotte Hornets were the #1 team in the Eastern Conference after the first 15 games of the season. Remember, we were all excited about that. And how did that end? Because once teams start to get their chemistry and start to get their rhythm, things change a lot. So, to the Portland-Memphis game, super, super entertaining. We got to see why Dame Lillard is one of the best guards probably in the league now that Steph Curry's injured. But do we really think they're going to give the Lakers a challenge in a playoff series once? Because, okay, LeBron and AD going to get that chemistry back. Teams are going to settle into their rhythm. How are they going to stop Anthony Davis?
Okay.
Who's going to stop?
Let me talk real quick. I got a real quick point. Kaiser, I see your point, but the Lakers have a major problem right now that just feeds into the port. It's like taking candy from a baby with the Blazers. The Lakers guard play is horrendous right now, defensively and offensively. Look, as much as your question asks, how are they going to stop Anthony Davis? Who in the hell is going to guard Damian Lillard or CJ McCollum once he gets healthy? So, but go ahead with your point.
That's true, but unless Portland can pull off a Golden State, which Golden State is the only team in recent history in which guard play alone maybe won a championship. In that's we're just forgetting about Draymond Green. I don't see that happening again against the greatest player of our generation and his teammate who is actually playing better than him now. I think that the Lakers are the best team in the West because they are. Let's not forget the Blazers had to play a play-in game to even play them. That matters.
A lot of that due to them being unhealthy a lot of the year. Let's add some context to that.
That's true, but everyone's healthy, unhealthy at times during the season. I think that recency bias has a lot to is how a lot of fans are looking at what we're seeing in the bubble. And a lot of people are like, oh boy, the Lakers are in trouble. I don't know about that.
And look, and there might be a lot of people like me who want the Lakers to be in trouble, but you gotta.
I will not be upset if Dame Lillard goes in and knocks LeBron James out of the playoffs, because boy, those conversations on Facebook are gonna be so fun to have if LeBron James gets bounced in the playoffs with Anthony Davis. But I don't see it based on what we've seen in the bubble.
Gotcha. Okay. Rodney, Danny, what you got?
Danny.
The issue I have, so to Kaza's point, yes, who's going to guard Anthony Davis? The only thing that can guard Anthony Davis is an injury. That's the only thing that can guard Anthony Davis is he's getting hurt. The problem with the Lakers is that who is going to, not just CJ McCollum and Dame Lillard, who's going to guard Yusef Nurkic? Because Space Cadet JaVale McGee and the artist formerly known as Dwight Howard will not do anything to Yusef Nurkic. Listen.
Real quick, Danny, you got two guys in Howard and McGee. You know those ratings on NBA 2K where it says like defensive IQ. Mm-hmm. If I had to guess, they would be amongst the lowest in the league. And last time I checked, Nurkic is pretty damn good on the pick and roll. But go ahead, sir. And the thing is, he comes out and pulls out the pick and pop. Anthony Davis doesn't want to bang with Yusef Nurkic. No, we all know that. They call him the Bosnian Beast for a reason. No one wants to go against him. The issue Portland has in the series is that Portland has too many lapses on defense. If you watch the game yesterday, they were up 16 points in the first quarter. Dame Lillard goes out of the game. And next thing you know, Memphis has got the lead midway through the second quarter. Absolutely. There's too many defensive low laps. And for a team that like the Lakers that has LeBron James and Anthony Davis, that means that's like a shark going in for the kill. That's Mike Tyson grabbing a shark on Shark Week and putting him to sleep. That's what it is.
Also, when the game's on the line, who do you trust more, Dame Lillard or LeBron James? And I love
Dame Lillard right now. Dame Lillard right now, bro.
I take LeBron James because
ask Paul George what Dame Lillard does.
LeBron James has done it. I understand when LeBron was in the East, it was different, but there were series that he had no business winning. There's no reason those bad Cleveland teams should have swept the damn Toronto Raptors, but they did because they had LeBron James. And I think that if it comes down to it, it's just hard to bet against LeBron James.
No, I agree with that.
In these last 8 games.
I'm not saying the Lakers are going to lose the series. I think the Lakers will probably win in 6 or maybe 7. The one thing that the Lakers, like I think Jamal mentioned earlier, is the fact that the Lakers have horrible guard play. And when you have a backcourt that can score 60 points a game, I'm sorry, even if Rondo comes back, remember Rondo missed all the bubble. He's not back in game shape. So that leaves you with no Avery Bradley. That leaves you with Kentavious Caldwell, KCP, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. You have Dion Waiters, J.R. Smith, and Alex Caruso, and Danny Green attempting to guard Damian Lillard and C.J. McCollum in the series. That means
LeBron guards in the NBA though is never. It's the hardest thing to do with all of
it. Is
especially when one can pull from 45 feet from a logo and splash.
Right.
That's because for one, LeBron James is the de facto point guard for the Lakers. He really is. It doesn't
absolutely.
As long
Agreed.
as he's got someone, as long as J.R. Smith can still stand behind the 3-point line and be a threat, I think the Lakers would be okay offensively when it comes to guard play. Yeah, defensively, no one's going to be able to guard Dame and CJ, but no one can guard them anyway. Hell, no one could guard Kemba Walker, and we saw how hard that got us. So,
great point.
So they're going to let Dame and CJ get theirs. I think the big matchup there is going to be the big man play. It really is. And then when you have a wing like LeBron James, I don't know. I don't want to put too much stock into what's going on.
Rodney, what you got? Hold on. Let's get Rodney in here.
Yeah, go Rodney.
One factor that to me that could take the series is I think Dame might be a little winded after that stretch run. And then CJ has a back injury as well, so that may play into the Lakers' favor, but the Lakers cannot check those two, man.
Let me speak to that real quick. The Blazers have a couple of X factors. CJ McCollum being the most obvious one, mainly because of his health. We all know he hasn't been healthy lately. He's been struck. Other than yesterday, he had been struggling up to that point. If CJ McCollum is healthy, and I do mean if, big stars by if, I think it makes a big difference in that series. I'll give you another X factor real quickly. Carmelo Anthony is an X factor. And my answer as to why may surprise both of y'all. Not necessarily what he does on the offensive end. I am mainly concerned when Portland decides when they do small ball and Melo is playing 4, is that going to really bode well defensively going up against the Lakers who have all kind of front court production? So just a couple of X factors I wanted to mention. But Rodney, if you have some more thoughts, please share them, sir. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Man, you got it, man.
All right.
Look, I just don't know about Melo, man. Like Melo. Look, congratulations to Melo for finally accepting his role. But to me, he's a big negative on the defensive end. And
absolutely, I agree.
And Melo is no longer a 3 in the NBA. He's a 4, and that's a potential problem for Portland in the long run to me.
I don't think it's a potential problem. The reason being is that Zach Collins got hurt yesterday. And Zach Collins is a key part of the rotation for Portland. So even if Skinny Melo has to slide to the 4, that allows Gary Trent to be in the game. Gary Trent's their best on-ball defender, which means that allows him to be the one to take LeBron James because Trevor Ariza is not available.
You want Gary Trent on LeBron?
Do we really want to do this?
Okay, that's the same thing. Do you want Alex Caruso guarding Damian Lillard? You pick your poison.
No, absolutely not.
I think the key part of the series is what Frank Vogel's going to do late in games. I think for the first 40 to 45 minutes or so, you're not going to see LeBron James on Damian Lillard. But I guarantee you in the final 3 to 5 minutes of the game, LeBron James is the best defender on the Lakers team, other than Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. I guarantee you'll see more LeBron James on Damian Lillard at the end of games.
Man,
it's like this.
That's
the only way you're going to listen. I will let Carmelo Anthony. I will let Carmelo Anthony and CJ McCollum beat me before I let Damian Lillard beat me in any series. So you're going to put if anybody like Takaza's point, LeBron James is arguably he is the best player in our generation.
Yeah.
And if LeBron wants to, he can shut anybody down defensively. We've seen it before.
I mean, look,
Danny, real quick.
With Derrick Rose, man.
Listen, Danny, real quick, man. Look, we all saw that defensive possession where LeBron was guarding two guys to basically seal the game. My only question here is LeBron James at age 35, can he do that consistently? And does he even need to do it consistently?
He doesn't. The thing is, the Lakers will let Damian Lillard do what he wants to for 45 minutes of the game. As long as the game is close, when it comes down to clutch time, I guarantee you'll see LeBron James guarding him unless LeBron is completely winded. But if anybody knows how LeBron James is in the playoffs, when he's locked in, he's locked in. And that's I don't care if he's 35, 45, or 85. He's still locked in.
Playoff LeBron is a real thing. All right, now
locked in.
Right. So, fellas, what we have not talked about in the NBA bubble is the East. My first question here is it basically the Milwaukee Bucks Invitational, or is there anybody else that has a chance?
Hey, Boston.
Toronto.
Miami.
No, I disagree. No.
Okay,
I don't.
So
What? You don't agree with Miami?
I don't agree with Miami, man. No.
Really?
No, I think they're overrated, dude. I do.
No. Look, Miami is so deep, man. Look. To me, Miami is the third best team in the East to me. Jimmy Butler. Bam is a great player, man. I'm telling you, Bam is a game changer. You got the shooters with Duncan Robinson, and you got Kendrick Nunn. Miami's damn good, man.
Would you, if you were a betting man, would you bet your money that they would beat the Indiana Pacers in the 7-game series?
Yes.
Without Sabonis, yes.
Yes.
I might would take that bet. I don't think they beat Milwaukee or Boston.
Here's the thing:
Boston is the only team in the last 25 years to have 3 scorers. That's a ridiculous stat. And then, of course, we see what Milwaukee's doing. They've got one of the more probably the only unguardable player in the East. I don't know. I don't see it.
Danny, what you got?
Here's the thing. If Indiana had Sabonis, Indiana's the best team to beat Milwaukee if they had a healthy Sabonis. As long as they had Sabonis, Indiana was the best team to beat Milwaukee. When it comes to Boston, here's the issue I have with Boston. Boston's main problem is I like Daniel Tice at center, but he becomes a liability.
Yeah.
There's no way Jason Tatum is going to guard Giannis in the series. That's just not going to happen.
No.
Who are they going to guard? Kemba Walker is not 100% healthy. We've watched him hobble around the bubble. He's not healthy. All right. I love Marcus Smart, but the reason why they brought in Kemba Walker is to do what Kyrie Irving was supposed to do. And if it comes in fourth quarter of games, he's the guy that's going to take you off the dribble and either A, step back, B, get Jason Tatum better shots, or C, find ways to get Jaylen Brown in the offense. If Kemba's still not 100%, Boston is a liability a bit. I like Toronto. Toronto has everything going for him. The only thing with Toronto is Fred VanVleet going to be the closer before Pascal Siakam is? If VanVleet's the closer, Toronto has every chance of winning it. I love Pascal Siakam, but there's a difference. When you can knock down shots from anywhere on the court, and you can create off the dribble, it's more dangerous than a guy like Siakam, who does a little bit what Giannis does, but the only thing is that he's not as long, he's not as quick, and he's not as athletic as Giannis, but who is.
All right, so listen, I have a question I want to present to y'all as far as Boston goes. We all know Boston, a lot of small ball, don't really have a traditional 4 or 5 for that matter. So when these playoff games slow down and you start to grind it out, and Boston's lack of interior defense and rebounding, how much does that come to bite them in the butt come playoff time? Is it a big concern?
See, this is why they miss Al Horford. They're going to miss Horford in this part of the year.
And my biggest concern with Boston too, man, is looking at that bench. It's not good. It's not good at all. They're not a deep team. They're front loaded heavy, and that's it. And then Danny brought up the point. Kemba's not healthy. I don't trust Brad Wanamaker to close games out if Kemba can't.
Right, Kaiser, what you got?
Other teams have to find a way to match at least 60 points. That's tough to do in the NBA. That's
agreed.
If you cannot match at least 60 points from your starters, then you're going to have a tough time beating Boston. Now, that might be enough to carry them to meet the Bucks, but I still think the NBA is superstar driven. You got to have a generational talent to win a championship. You must. And really, it's Giannis's world right now. I mean, I have a hard time thinking anyone can beat him in a 7-game series just because of the kind of player that he is.
Danny, help me out with something real quick. We're gonna get back to overrated Miami in a second, but I need you to help me out with something. Milwaukee had a couple of players not come to the bubble. Help me out with who they are. But the question I want to ask: does that hurt them and their chances in winning the East?
Well, everybody's back now. Milwaukee's back. Milwaukee's back in full strength.
Okay.
Eric Bledsoe, I want to say it was not DiVincenzo, but Pat Connaughton. It was Pat Connaughton. They both had missed the start of the bubble. Milwaukee's 100% healthy for the playoffs. But Jamal, to your point, why is Miami dangerous in the playoffs? Well, when you add Jay Crowder and you add Andre Iguodala, the reason why they make a difference is it adds more versatile defenders to guard Giannis. You're not going to stop him. Right. The object is to slow him down. All right. You make him work for every basket. In the playoffs, it's all about guys who can defend and guys who are long. Giannis is going to go against Iguodala. He's going to go against Jay Crowder. Don't forget, Bam Adebayo is very long as well, too. The player that no one's talked about, we mentioned Jimmy Butler, is Goran Dragic.
Yep.
Dragic is their sixth man now. Dragic is one of the better shooters in the league. He distributes the ball very well. And if you leave him open, it's going in. There have been many nights where he gets you 20 points off the bench. You forget about it. Duncan Robinson's a shooter. Tyler Hero, the Hornets and the Magic forgot about Tyler Hero in the draft. He can shoot the basketball.
Can we not bring that up, please, sir?
Listen, it is what it is. I mean, but you mentioned Kendrick Nunn, and Kendrick Nunn has been missing in the bubble. Kendrick Nunn has been awful in the bubble. Now, what hurts Miami is the fact that Derrick Jones Jr. got hurt on Friday night. And he's a key rotational piece, another guy who can guard Giannis, another guy who's long. If Derrick Jones is not available in this series, if it gets around to, that's going to hurt. But Miami can shoot the three. They can go 3-point for 3-point with Milwaukee in the series. They have enough shooters to go with it. You're going to let Giannis get his. But here's the thing. Jimmy Butler's going to lock down Chris Middleton. Who is going to be the next guy in line for Milwaukee? Eric Bledsoe got punked by Terry Rozier in the playoffs 2 years ago and has never been the same.
As well as during the season, but that's another story. But
exactly,
guys, I got a question for you guys. Do y'all think the process has been a complete disappointment?
Let me take this one first. Not a complete disappointment, but highly underwhelming. Yes. So in a word, yes, it's been a disappointment. There's context to this. Look. They were god awful for I don't know how long, and granted that they were awful for that long, to me it's supposed to bring you better results. They have championship expectations. In my opinion, they're just not ready yet. Embiid and Simmons is not a good fit. I don't care what anybody says. The chemistry has been off with them for the last 2 or 3 seasons. So in a word, yes, it has been a disappointment.
7 first-round draft picks, 4 of those top 3. What do you have to show for it?
What do you have to show for it? Right.
You have Embiid and Simmons, both of which don't even want to play for your team anymore. They're about to be back where they were before they started the process. And to note, they had the same record as the Toronto Raptors during the 2011-2012 season. Same exact record. Philly chose to tank. Toronto chose to continue to build their team. One of those teams has a championship. The process was just something that the GM was telling the fans to kind of preserve his job. Okay, it got them to the second round of the playoffs. Good job. Awesome.
I disagree. The process has been incomplete because they fired the GM before the process even completed. The reason why the Sixers got so to the point where they were is because Sam Hinkie moved around. You got to think, yeah, they had 7 first-round picks. But remember, Sam Hinkie's process turned Michael Carter-Williams into the Rookie of the Year, which allows you to ship him off for assets, which allowed you to have free agent cap space. Remember, Sam Hinkie turned water into wine, basically. The reason why this has been a problem was the second they fired Sam Hinkie and they brought in Brian Colangelo traded all the parts away. He went out and used all those parts to go get Tobias Harris. He used all the parts to go rent out Jimmy Butler, which they did not resign. They turned Jimmy Butler into what? Josh Richardson? To Josh Richardson, because guess what? Their point guard did not want to deal with Jimmy Butler's his ways in the locker room. Why is Joel Embiid unhappy? Because he was happy with Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler held everybody accountable in the locker room, except for the star player who's the Fresh Prince, who did not want to hear it.
LSU. But you gotta, I think though,
LSU, exactly.
He had to look and say, how can I win now? Because as far as we knew, we didn't know LeBron James is going to go to LA until it actually happened. I think teams are saying in the East are saying we got to win now. We can't sit back and wait 5, 6, 7 seasons for Embiid and Simmons and the pieces we put around them to gel. So let's go out and get a Jimmy Butler or Tobias Harris and make this instant big three that can compete. And I mean, it didn't work out, but I just think the idea of tanking to get all of these picks it's like, hey, we're gonna try to get as many darts as we can and throw at the dartboard until we hit a bullseye, and then you hit the bullseye, you hit the 20-point. And
let me say one quick thing. This is an entirely different conversation if that shot doesn't go in the Raptors and 76ers series. So let's keep that in mind.
It's also completely different if Markelle Fultz's shoulder doesn't go out before the season starts either. If Markelle Fultz's shoulder doesn't go out, we're looking at a totally different situation, because Markelle Fultz in college was 23, 24 points a game when he had confidence. Now, when you have the TOS injury, and to be honest with you, when you have the TOS injury, no player has come back being the same. The only player in the league that's ever had it before Fultz was Ben Udoh, and he was out of the league in 2 years because he never recovered from it. It's a shoulder injury. It's also mental at the same time. Markelle Fultz even this, and I think Fultz's injury, firing Sam Hinkie all at the same time in that same realm, killed the process. Philadelphia had it right. Hinkie had beat the system. He figured it out. He moneyballed the whole system. It almost worked.
I don't know. I need more.
They changed the system
than what he got even before he was fired. For me to
they changed the lottery system because of him. So you had to win.
But it didn't prove itself. It didn't come to any fruition. The 76ers were, I mean, the closest they got was maybe a missed shot from making the Eastern Conference Finals with the players they accumulated. It's just, I mean, the idea that, okay, we can be so bad that we have more chances at a generational talent than other teams in the league, and that will lead us to a championship. It didn't work because you didn't get any generational talent. I'm sorry, Joel Embiid is a great player. He's not. Joel Embiid, before this season, played less games than Cody Zeller did in the same amount of time because he was injured so much.
Did he score 7 times the points, though? And get 5,000 times the rebounds?
All right, guys, real quickly, because of time, listen. If it were up to me, I would want to go on about the NBA and the bubble for another hour, but we got to wrap this up because of time.
Quickly. One word answer. Elton Brand grades. Let's go.
Incomplete.
Yes.
C-.
D+.
He kept Tobias Harris.
D+.
Yeah. So with that being said, I got 2 quick questions for y'all. Finals predictions, most disappointing team in the East and the West. Danny, we'll start with you.
The finals is going to be the same as I had at the beginning of the season, Lakers Bucks. As long as the Lakers can get out of the Blazer series, the 4-5 matchup is easy for them. The real question is how much rest they're going to have in time for waiting on Kawhi Leonard. That's even if the Clippers even get to the conference finals. Because beating Denver is not going to be an easy task, especially if Michael Porter Jr. is shooting the basketball the way he is. That's going to be a fun series to watch. But I have Lakers Bucks because the East is completely weak. So that's what I got. And most disappointing team in the West. The most disappointing team in the West, I might get flamed for it. I think it's the Sacramento Kings. The injuries and the talent of Marvin Bagley, they should have been right there. Yeah. If they did make the playoff, they should have been right around 8. They're the most disappointing team in the West. And the most disappointing team in the East, Chicago.
Chicago.
Okay. Chicago has a lot of talent on their team. Jim Borland was a terrible coach, and now he's gone. Now, whoever the coach in Chicago is, as long as they get those boys to play defense, listen, Chicago might make a run at the 8th spot in the East next year in the playoffs, maybe even 7.
All right, Rodney, what you got?
Finals, I got Clippers, Bucks, Clippers in 6. Most disappointing team in the West. I'm gonna go Portland, but that's because of the injuries. I recognize that's because of the injuries. The most disappointing team in the East, Philly, man. Philly.
All right, Kaiser, what you got?
Let's see. Well, Lakers Bucks. I know that's the sexy, easy pick, but that was my pick at the beginning of the season. Lakers Bucks, and I'd pick the Bucks to win that series. Most disappointing team in the West. I'm gonna go. Okay, I'm gonna say the Spurs. I feel like, I had an argument with some Toronto's Raptors fans, and we were talking about the impact of DeMar DeRozan, and they were acting like he was just some trash player. And I'm like, you can't. When you averaging 27 points a game, you cannot be trash. But I feel like the Spurs should be much better than they are with a player of DeMar DeRozan's caliber. I just don't understand why the Aldridge DeRozan experiment just didn't work. It puzzles me, especially considering they have maybe one of the greatest coaches in NBA history. And I understand that they had some injuries, but I just don't understand why Pop couldn't make that work and make the Spurs at least competitive in the West. As far as the East, I'm gonna say the Orlando Magic. And I know Danny he knows a lot more about the Orlando Magic than I do. But from the outside looking in, I feel like, okay, so they're the 8th seed in the East again, which some people will say, well, hey, look at what Clifford had to work with. They've been to the playoffs last season and now this season, but shouldn't they be better? I don't feel like they've improved any. And I understand they had some injuries, but with the with the Eastern Conference as weak as it is, like barely squeezing into an 8th seed, I just feel like the Magic should be better than that, considering I know that they have some talented players. So it'll be interesting to see it how they do in the playoffs, if they're even competitive, even a little bit with Milwaukee. I mean, I don't see it, but those are my.
All right. So real quickly, I'm reluctantly going Clippers Bucks, and I say reluctantly because every time I pick against those damn Lakers, they always come on top. But I just think Montrezl Harrell coming back is going to be the difference in that. Most disappointing team in the West, my answer may surprise some. I feel like the Dallas Mavericks should be better. Most disappointing team in the East, I'm probably going to go with Chicago as well, because I look at some of that young talent and I don't get why they're not better. I don't get why Zach LaVine I don't understand why you don't get the most out of him. He is a great young talent. Wendell Carter's a great young talent. You're right. Right. So
look, Lord Marketing is the Charlotte Killer.
Lord Marketing is a good one. So with all that being said, I don't understand why they're not better. They fired their coach, so we'll see next season. But quickly, guys, we got to move on to what I believe is just some. Look, we're gonna file this in the dumbass department. Rookie Kama Silverin from the Seattle Seahawks tried to sneak a girl into training camp over the weekend, and he paid the ultimate price for it. The Seattle Seahawks cut him a day later. So my question to that is, was this deserved? I know that's a layup, but go first.
I was like, okay, let me see the picture of the young lady. And this was deserved. He was cut appropriately, and he should have been fined as well. I'm done.
Oh, man. Kaiser, what you got, man?
even if we weren't in the midst of a global pandemic, sneaking a girl into training camp is a big no-no. So when you add the fact that these professional sports bubbles are very delicate anyway, yeah, absolutely, it was deserved. You just endangered the health of your teammates and everyone else working to make an NFL season for, yeah, it was
a 4.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm just saying that he might have known her from before, and she might have looked like a 4, but you know what I'm saying? You get her back to the crib, and
she's a 10.
Does things that 10s won't do. That's what I'm saying.
Danny, what you got, man?
The what?
How do I follow that? All right. Was it well deserved? Yeah, it was well deserved. Yeah, to the guys' point, it's a global pandemic outside. This isn't normal time. Like, you already know everything's on lock and key. But what made it worse was he had the girl dress up as a player. As a player. All right. My question is, what player was she supposed to be? She didn't look like Russell. She wasn't Russell Wilson.
No.
Was she the kicker? My question is, if you're going to dress up as anything, dress her up as a damn mascot. Do something. Be creative. Sneaker as the mascot, but listen.
And look, Danny, they didn't have like water bottles around, like a medical kit she could have walked. They didn't think she could get away with being a trainer. Like, really? Yeah, so you put a. That's my question, man.
No one suspects the mascot. I don't know, but like, here's the thing: you're an undrafted rookie on a $20,000 signing bonus, trying to get on an NFL roster. Rosters are 85 deep now. So you have a really good chance of making this roster. You have a good chance. Listen, the NFL is not, there's no bubble in the NFL season. You couldn't wait a month? You're telling me those cheeks were not worth waiting a month for?
Unreal.
He deserved the asshole award for that one.
Listen, go ahead, Rodney.
This tells me that there's going to be a stoppage in the NFL season. If undrafted cats like him can't control themselves, I can't imagine what $1 million rookie's going to do.
They shut baseball down when the Marlins went to when they went to the strip club in Atlanta. You have players going to casinos in baseball. You think that shut it down? Nah.
So here's my question, man. Here's my question. Let's say this guy was, I don't know, a starter. Does he get cut?
No.
I think Deion Sanders mentioned that the other day in one of his posts. I think it was on Instagram or Twitter. He was like, we all did things as a rookie. We all did things when we were young. But let's just say this: no team was cut in prime.
No team was cut in prime. Jamal, you back?
Yeah, I'm back. Thank you. All right. So I read this story, man, and I get it, man. I get players get bored, they get lonely, they get another word that I won't say on this podcast. I get it, man. But when you're in this
Pornhub and call it a night, call it a night.
Training camp, though.
Oh man. But when you are. But listen, when you're in this young man's position, you are a guy that is trying to make your mark on his team. You are not a starter even. You have got to be smarter than that, man. Come on, dude.
Jamal, your volume went out.
I was just asking, man. I was just saying that this young man has obviously got to be smarter than this, man. And I was just asking if y'all had anything else on this. Because I'm done with this.
All I know is I got a forward this week from a press release from cams.com, which is Adult Friend Finder, and they were giving out free subscriptions to NFL players as well as NBA players throughout the global pandemic because I'll even read the email I have itself. It says, in light of the firing of the rookie for the Seahawks for sneaking the girl into the dorm room, one of the world largest camming and dating sites is extended and offered to all NFL players under quarantine this season. Considering the very strict social distancing guidelines laid out, Cams.com is offering NFL players and coaches a compound VIP membership to its website to provide the reassurance whenever they are lonely or need some extra motivation leading up to the big game.
How do you know this?
Hey, way to step up. Way to step up.
I mean, I got this as a press release, so it's like, but they haven't heard back from any NBA, NFL players yet who've taken advantage of the services, but they have seen their stream service go up by 30%. They said. All I'm saying is, to Rodney's point, you know, if you have to go to extracurricular websites or watch the Meg Thee Stallion video with Cardi B, do that as much as you need to. Do not get yourself clipped. Can you imagine trying to find a new team knowing that they know the background history of you?
Right.
You didn't get cut for missing a block. You got cut for trying to dress up a chick as a teammate.
No. Yeah, you gotta be more blunt. You got cut for a 4. A 4.
Listen, when it comes to women, everybody's idea of what a 1 and a 10 is completely different. All right. So to him, she might be an 8, 9, or a 10. I'm not here to judge that. That's not what I'm here for.
Hey, once she got
all I'm saying is,
she's probably a 9.
Listen, she better be a 99. She better be a straight 99 for me to risk my endangerment.
To risk that kind of money, you could potentially be making. I'm telling you, she was probably willing to do things a 9 wouldn't do. So he was like, you know what? You're gonna put this Russell Wilson jersey on, and we're gonna get you past security.
What was she climbing on? Was she climbing on the roof? What was she doing?
Again, we're not talking about a starter. Listen, we're not talking about a starter. We're talking about somebody who could be working at FedEx next month. His decision making.
He's at Wawa right now. Putting out applications. Ain't nobody hiring in the pandemic. He better keep that 20,000. You better make sure you spend that 20,000.
Save that.
All right, y'all. We're gonna move on, man. 2 more things before we wrap up the show today. Rodney had an interesting topic to throw out here, but we can only do one crush because of time. I want everybody to name your top or most favorite, whatever, TV crush. Who wants to take this one first?
Only one?
No. Look, I'm gonna go.
Name 5 if you got them. Name 5.
Rodney, go first.
Number 1, I was a kid, Jackie Harry.
Whoa.
Number two, Dasha Polanco. Number 3, Felicia Rashad. Number 4, Ashley Graham. Number 5, Tatiana Ali.
Good list.
Tatiana Ali, Lark Voorhees.
Thank you. Yes.
Alyssa Milano, Maya, and them twins from that Sister show.
Do they count as 1 or 2?
2.
Do they count as 1 or 2?
2.
All right, for this experience,
yeah,
double the fun. So for me, I'm gonna take Alyssa Milano. She's definitely on the list. Tatiana Ali is 2. I cannot remember her name from Boy Meets World, Topanga. I can't.
Yes.
She completely just flew over my head when it came to that. That's 3. All right, 4. Let's see. Whew. I'm gonna have to go to Maori twins. So I'm gonna count them as 1. Since if Kaza can do it, I can do it. That's 1. And man, 5. I'm gonna be. You know what? I'm gonna go back to this one. Give me Myra from Family Matters.
Yeah, Family Matters. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All right, let me see if I can get 5. Lark Voorhees, definitely. Tatiana Ali, definitely. Now, Rodney, you did not say this was a kid's crush. I have a crush on a young lady who plays on Dear White People. Her name is Antoinette Robertson. She goes by Coco in that series. She's number 3.
I thought we were talking TV. I thought we were talking TV crushes growing up. See, that completely goes different.
Growing up. Nope.
I put TV all my life.
Yeah. I'm probably gonna say Alyssa Milano as well, and actually Hillary from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh, good one. Yeah.
Parsons, yes.
Y'all, please don't laugh at me. I had Raven Simone. Me and her are the same age. Look. When I was a kid, she was the finest thing in the world to me.
She was like 3. I was like 10. So.
Huh?
I mean, you got to think that's why he's a Clemson. That's why he went to Clemson because his dad's at all the game. There we go.
All right, y'all. Moving on, man. Real quickly, anybody got any shout outs or shout ats or both?
Quickly. Yesterday morning, one of my best friends in the world, his son passed away in a motorbike accident. His name was Trey Clowney. He actually did our under construction shirts for us. He was 22 years old. A real good kid, man. Sweet spirit. Just prayers out for the family. They're basically my family. I'm the godchild. I'm the godfather of the newest baby and everything. Prayers up to them, man, and it's just a heartbreaking thing.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Rest in peace, Trey, man. And again, he designed these T-shirts, man. Very sad story. So rest in peace to that young man. Does anybody else have shout outs or shout ats? Because if y'all don't, I do. Okay, I'll go next. This is something I don't feel like I should have to say. I don't feel like I should have to shout at and shout out these people, but I'm going to do it anyway. First and foremost, I want to give my heartfelt condolences to the little boy who was murdered by some lunatic, 5-year-old little boy. His name escapes me right now. I'm very sorry. Thank you. I want to first give my heartfelt condolences to his family. There is absolutely no justification for that ever happening to a child. The end. I want to shout at the morons who are trying to politicize this young man's death as some type of opposition to Black Lives Matter. It is absolutely asinine. It is low IQ. It is unintelligent. It is a deflection. It is everything bad that you as a rotten human being are trying to politicize this young man's death. Please stop it right now. Everyone with a clear mind and everyone who has some common sense knows that that little boy probably will receive at least legal justice for that just senseless murder. The end. I have nothing else to add. Anybody else?
Arrest the killers of Breonna Taylor.
Yep.
Kaza?
I agree with all that. I got nothing this week.
All right. So with that being said, Danny.
Finally, shout out to Danny for joining us today. Really
yes,
appreciate you gracing us with your average present.
See, you're going to get me started. See, the thing is, so Jamal and Cosby, here's the thing. Rodney has jumped on my show on multiple occasions and has attacked me on my own show. The only thing is, good thing this is not your own show, because I will light you up like the Falcons, like Matt Ryan has done the Panthers secondary his entire career.
Plug your show real quick.
Plug your
show, Danny. Beyond the Buzzer on Monday and Thursday nights on Zingo TV channel 198, as well as Facebook Live and anywhere else you can find anywhere you can find media, as well as Talking Hoops on Tuesday nights, 9 p.m. both on Zingo TV. And I think pretty soon, I don't know, Under Construction will probably join the family as well too, once we get those conversations started. So,
yes, sir.
Hey guys, before we leave, you want to hear a funny joke?
Oh
boy.
Danny said that Matt Ryan's the first ballot Hall of Famer.
All right, guys, that's our show for today. Everybody be safe.
That's all, folks.
That's all, folks. Until next time. Peace out, y'all.
Bye, guys.